Hello and welcome everyone joining us on the stream. It is nice to see you here. I am Oscar, your host tonight with Alberto and Ame, and we're about to witness the last challenge final in the eSailing World Championship 2024. This is the Marseille Regatta challenge final. With the goal fleet, so with the top 40 of the qualifier series that already happened off stream. Alberto, what are your hopes and what are your thoughts of this final so far?
So the final so far has been really difficult for some players. A lot of distance between already between the group of the top 20 to the group of the second 20, and I believe we will see a lot of nice races tonight.
I really hope so too, and yeah, we did see some tight racing, some battling already in the qualifiers, and with us is Ame as well. Ame, have you followed a bit what's been happening before? Do you have like any underdogs that you wish qualify?
I wouldn't say I wish, but I'm cheering Barracuda. I think he's a black horse, the dark horse in this race. He can perform really well, and currently he's standing in position 32. And I would say everything will change by the race 7. So this fleet is much tougher than the qualifiers. They were about 24 to 26 belts in the quals, and now it's a full fleet of 40. It's much more difficult thing to do to race, and we'll see a lot of changes in the overall standings by race 7.
Yep, absolutely. And as you say, so at the end of race 7, we'll see who qualifies. They've already played 3 races, so 1 in Nakra, 1 in Offshore, and 1 in 49er in their separate fleets. Results are on a sales score this time. And so now we're about to witness the 5 last races. So we're starting with the J70, one of the fan favorites of the game. For race 4, then or the first race of the Gold Fleet. Then we'll go with the Offshore again, 49er again, Nakra again, and the medal race in J70. Again, medal race being for the top 20 only. Cool, so the race is supposed to start very soon. Well, as I say that, it is starting. In the J70 fleet of 38 skippers, 2 of them did not join or did not see the instructions to join. And yeah, I've asked the underdog of Ame, Alberto, who will be yours?
Mine, I want to change my answer from the one I gave you before, is Nikhil Damji, the winner of the the Banked Julian Trophy this year, and he is playing today for qualifiers for the semi-final. His nickname is Nikhil, and he's from Canada.
That's great to see, and we don't see a lot of Canadians actually in the fleet, so definitely a player that we'll be following. And yeah, 15 seconds almost to start.
It's sound, they're all sailing.
No worries. And it's a go. And a penalty for Nico, who misses his start. And we'll see how the fleet divides as we continue. So just gonna head over to the chat real quick. With seeing Donnie over here. Nice to see you in the chat. Noza, nice to see you there as well. Shade Lofin, nice to see you. Cool. I hope you're all doing well.
Definitely, I jinx it for Nikhil, right?
I mean, we always do when we mention a player. Usually, it's the commentator's curse.
Yeah, exactly.
Currently 36, but it's only the first race to 5 in the first upwind, so there's plenty of time still to catch up. Ame, you're already qualified. You're already a semi-finalist. Semi-final happening on the 7th and 8th of September, by the way. Have you guys been practicing, or do you have like any tips for any players who could be wanting to get some training in for the semi-finals or for the next year?
Yeah, we've just recently had a practice, a 40 boat practice, the first ever made 40 boat private regatta recently this Monday, and not surprisingly, but it was not really nice to see Kurt doing really well. He missed 2 races, and we had 3 versions of the results due to several redresses given, and also to try balance it because there were some issues happening. It was a huge effort to organize it. We didn't know what to expect. Anyways, it was quite smooth, so we decided to do 3 versions of the results. First one was the official results. Second version was featuring some red dresses, and the other one was featuring the overall discard for everyone. One race was discarded. Normally we like to race without discards just because it helps you to derive the most consistent players, but since some players were experiencing issues with connecting, some players were experiencing some other issues, and there were some minor organization flaws, we decided to do that. And Kurt missed 2 races, and in the version 2 of the results, where the red dress was given, he jumped from position 6 overall to 2nd, and in version 3, where everyone was given the discard, he jumped to position 1. And so he basically would win the regatta if he maintained this consistency. And regarding the tips, I would just recommend to do some safe sailing. Sometimes it's just all about racing to the clean air and safe, just in sailing in a safe manner.
Yep. Well, Kurt has been a player that I've only personally recently discovered, but apparently was here way before, and a strong player as well. So he is actually doing very well this final so far. First overall with 7 points after 3 races, so 3rd in race 1, 3rd in race 2, and 1st in race 3. So yeah, very strong performance from him so far, and we expect to see more. Nozet is betting for Kurt, Carlos, and Johannes as his top 3. While Scheidlofin is rooting as Antila Ankila for his underdog.
I would say Kurt is the favorite to win the regatta because he entered the gold fleet with just 7 points, and he's leading with 9 points from position 2nd. And it's a huge advantage, even though everything can change, but it mostly secures you. If you just maintain consistency, it secures you the podium position.
Yep. But I would say before the final started, I would say that my favorites would have been Kurt, Khan, and probably Carlos. 3 very strong players, at least in the past, and who are still performing well to this day. All 3 in the top 15, so as a reminder, the top 20 will go to the medal race at the end.
It's basically good to see Khan back on the series, on the official finals, a very iconic player, and it would be nice to see him in the semi-finals. He would be a very good addition.
Yep, for sure. Crossing our fingers for him. In the meantime, Scheidlo mentioned Attila Ankila, sorry, currently in 11th, 12th. She is so, and in the top 20 of the fleet, so she is doing well in this race. Just needs to keep up this consistency. And overall in the ranking, she is, however, 39th. So she would need some good performances to slowly come up the ranking, as Chris over here is going to support Tier 7, Kurt, and Searching. Tier 7, also, we didn't mention him. yet, but very excellent results for the first 2 races. He arrived first in the first 2 and 14th in race 3. Currently in the top 10 again. So I do expect him to see him in the top 20 at the end, and hopefully in the top 12 by the very end.
And presumably we should expect Johannes Bunsen, who is currently leading the race, joining the top 5. I see Surchin is also in position 6, who's currently third overall. But Johannes Bunsen is 9th with 27 points, and I see no obstacle for him to finish the race in first position, so he would definitely be somewhere in top 5, depending on the results of Kurt, Jer7, and Kolikoi. Also to mention, Johannes Bunsen is the German champion of 2023.
You're correct, yep. He was the German champion of the German Federation when they organized their championship. So yeah. Johannes, he's 9th overall. So in a strong position as well. And as you said, touching wood, but he shouldn't have any issues in finishing this race first. 60-meter lead on the second. And that's going to increase when he goes into the downwind.
And another strong boat is Trep Oliver. He's a very strong boat. He has good days, he has bad days, but he can definitely surprise.
Yep. The sailor, we've seen him in a couple of finals already, I think. Well, he qualified for them. I don't know if he was able to race in all of them. We did see him in the... Oh, I think we saw him in a lot. We saw him in the San Francisco one, the Semaine Olympique Française one, and the Princess Sophia Regatta one. So maybe fourth time is the charm for him.
And right now we are watching Trep Oliver. He jibed over just straight after the mark, and I expect him to probably improve his position a bit because he's in controlling position. If he has enough luck to cover Phil Matty, or he's just sailing fast, maybe he decided to secure his position. But this is the sin. When you jibe over with this wind to port, you have your shadow and you have your starboard rights, and this is a good chance to control the fleet, to be a shepherd and push the fleet behind, and with that shadow just take a few positions, which will definitely improve you overall.
Yep, and he's continuing to battle with Phil Matey over here. Decides not to jibe on him and will instead jibe onto Mornier, who will jibe away to keep clear of the wind shadow you were mentioning, as Johannes Bunsen already crossed the finish line, and Kolikoi soon after following him. Kolikoi is also a name we should probably mention, currently 4th in the overall standings. And a player that could very much win this regatta.
Yeah, for sure. And he was racing in 1P regatta. I'm not sure where he ended up, but he's the boat that can definitely qualify to some big finals.
Yep. So we're currently witnessing the back of the fleet with Fidorex and Whimsical Sailor. We're gonna do their best to not finish last, and it's gonna be tight between all of these boats. Tim Janik currently being slowed down by Ion. I don't really know how to pronounce that name. As he takes a penalty, so does Ion at the end of the race, and this is the end of race 1. So we're gonna tally up the results for this fleet of 38 players.
Definitely offshore. There is like F18 and offshore are my favorite from the non-popular. because they're like similar in some way for like J70 and Nacra, but they behave in a total different way. So is another set of skill, is another way to conduct the boat. Is those two boats are the boat I love from the non famous one or non-popular one.
I'm gonna have to agree with you with the F18. I think this boat doesn't get enough love. Yes, Nozet and Chris, there is no discard in this final.
A very tricky belt. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same question to the chat. In the chat, which boat would be an unpopular opinion that you like? You're gonna say Ame?
I would say Star is a very tricky and interesting belt. A lot of people hate it because of the shadow and because it doesn't much fit the concept of virtual sailing, perhaps. I mean, it's not sailing Star in 40 boat format is just pretty uncommon to the other belts, but on the other hand, it's pretty realistic just because in real racing, when you race Ilka 7, for instance, boat, you have the pretty same behavior. You have a lot of shadow on downwinds, which pretty much resembles a Star boat. And these crowdy messes, you have them in the real life as well, especially at the gates, at the marks. And in my eyes, this is something that is probably not loved by community, but that is also a big test, like a 40 boat regatta. So people may not like it, but it does require some experience to perform well. And in my eyes, this is a good boat for big numbers of participants.
Yeah, I think the Star kind of falls in the category of you don't necessarily like sailing it, but you like watching regattas of it.
Yeah, not the best boat for in sense of dynamics, but the races are dynamic.
Yeah, in terms of like tactics, maybe, or I don't know. Maybe I just like people being annoyed by the Star. And RG Tyler is saying the length of the offshore boat makes it tough. It is a quite long boat, especially with the bowsprit at the at the start of the boat, the bow of the boat, which counts as being part of the boat. So it is quite challenging compared to the other boats that you see on Virtual Regatta Inshore, who don't usually have a bowsprit or a small bowsprit if they do.
The peculiarity of this boat is that even though it's long and quite a big one, in comparison with mid-size boats other mid-size boats we have, it's pretty maneuverable. It's almost I think it's one of the most maneuverable boats in the game.
Yeah, I think I could agree with that. I was just looking at the top two at the moment, Kolikoi and Khan. Kolikoi took the first place in the overall ranking after race 4, sorry, landing at 22 points. And so, as we said, he is a player that we need to watch out. And Khan, well, he is, as you said, one of an iconic player, let's say, in the community. So, and Carlos, well, I mean, look at the top three. Carlos, Oliver is fourth.
Turkish Carrot.
Yeah.
Is
one of the winners of the Olympic Virtual Series back in 2022, I think it was. 2021?
Mm-hmm.
2021. Right, in 2021. And his alternative nickname is Havuk, which is a carrot in Turkish.
Yep.
And it's nice to follow them. Currently, Khan is pressing Kolikoi, and it would be nice to see if Kolikoi responds with the same behavior on upwind, because currently Khan is in the position to attack, but it will alter on the upwind. I don't think Khan will manage to get the rights on Kolikoi.
As they are the
basically,
first two to around the mark. Kolikoi deciding to continue on to port side and Khan staying on starboard side. To get away from Kolikoi and stay away from his wind shadow before attacking again. Carlos and Oliver not far behind. Let's see a bit what's happening at the back of the Nick Hill Canadian boat that we mentioned at the start. Currently in 24th. Not in an easy position with all the boats behind him and around him. It's going to be tricky for all of this pack of players to really get away from it. And an unfortunate mark touch from Nick Hill. Row 31 is touching the mark basically. It's very unfortunate from him. And right behind him we see the Swiss player flying Palomino. Who's also making a name for himself in the community, I believe.
Yeah, I think the Swiss movement is continuing to do something really interesting. They already are setting up all the national championship. They are already going to the Nations Cup this year. So they really want to go back to really high standard.
Yep. And well, we can see it in this final. We have a couple of them qualified with Lagern as well. Wasn't Lagern the champion?
Yeah.
and I think we can name an additional underdog. I started to notice Leonardo from Portugal. He was quite consistent with average standings in qualifiers, and currently he's in fifth. And his overall position after 4 races is 26, and he'll definitely improve after this one. And it would be interesting to watch if he carries on with this consistency.
Yep, and we hope it for him. 26th is totally doable to reach the top 20 to get into that medal race.
Trap Oliver carries on.
Yeah, this top four is quite good. I'm gonna watch this battle between Khan and Kolikoi.
We can also say the same thing, that a similar thing that we said for the Swiss regarding the Polish. They're really doing amazing things. They already have the first two female player for Saturday's steering the course are from Poland. So looking forward to see that emotion.
Yep, Poland is definitely one of the nations that we need to look out for. We do see several Polish players over here with Korba and Demianek that Ame you mentioned before. Attila and Kila, sorry, of course. And Shidlo Finn that we see in the chat over here, who's already in the semifinals, I believe. Shidlo, supporting his teammates.
Yeah, he's and well, there are
Yesko, two as well.
interesting things. As you can see, some heavier pressure is coming from the top, from the right hand side, and some builds that were in mid positions around in the last mark, they lost to the boats that just got this that heavy pressure, and definitely there was huge changes in the positionings after that mark in the mid of the fleet. And the other nice discovery, I know where the confusion comes from for Aquila Antilla. She has a nickname in the game, Antilla Aquila, and I believe she has Aquila Antilla on sales score.
No, so that's why I always mess it up. Okay, that is the end of race 5 overall, or race 2 in the Gold Fleet. with 38 players. It looks like we had a disconnects, maybe. We'll see that.
If it's 38 players, we do not have a Merlino and a Shaki, Al Shaki 96 joining the first race also.
That's unfortunate for them.
Yeah.
And I see Antilla finishing in 37s. And I reckon that is the effect of that wind shift and pressure shift. So a very heavy pressure with a strong wind came from top right, and the belts that were behind just overtook the belts that went right with the shadow and starboard right.
And looks like Mournier was the one who had an issue, maybe. So we'll double check that during the race.
Ame, could you give us some tips about sailing the 49er?
Oh yeah, for sure. A lot of belts require some better way move for acceleration and gaining momentum to have a fast departure. When it comes to 49er doesn't accelerate really dramatically on bearing ways, just because this belt is already fast by default. Bearing away costs you a lot of ground, so bearing away move might give you 2 knots of speed at the departure, but the height, the ground you lose by that bear away move is more significant and mostly costly. So a good tip is just approach the line, the start line on VMG, or even closer to the wind, and just press VMG and do a slight bear away move by the time of the start. So I would say the ground, the height, the overall height by the moment of departure is more important and is more essential than the speed. Of course, it's situational, but people lose a lot of ground and lose some positions just by this bear away move. Another thing that 49ers really depended on is the pressure. So if we take J70 or some other belts, they are less dependent on the pressure. In 49er, there are a lot of cases when the belt may go to not the favorite shift, but to the much heavier pressure and accelerate a lot over the air and overtake the belts that went to the more favorite wind shift. And now it's a very interesting course. We see some pressure coming in the middle, so there is no very light air patch on the left hand side and on the right, and there is kind of a tube in the middle, and we see Leonardo currently climbing up the course in this heavy pressure. So I would expect them, both Calico and Leonardo, to lead the race till the finish.
Yep, I didn't have time really to watch the overall ranking after race 5, so race 2. But I believe Kulikoi, right, is still first, Khan second, Kurt third, and Searching fourth. So I think chat was pretty much spot on for the top races tonight.
And Portuguese belt Leonardo continues to give us some nice performance. He was 5th overall last race. We highlighted he's pretty consistent. He has only won that race throughout the regatta, and now he's in first position. And also he gets some lefty coming in the middle of the course, and let's see if he can. Yeah, he decides to. I'm not sure whether he intended to control Kolikoi or not, or it's just a fair selling. Let's see.
Yeah, we'll see. He was maybe a bit forced by Kolikoi to tack. I think he did.
Yeah, probably.
He made the good decision, I think, because the whole fleet tacked as well.
Sometimes the perspective of the spectator mode is different from the actual race, and it's hard to highlight all the maneuvers accurately. But probably you're right. He was maybe he was kind of forced to tack, and now we see they're going high again. And I assume over there he will try to libel Kolikoi, since it is tactically right decision to extend your lead. Because Kolikoi is currently the only boat who can is the only strat of Leonardo. If he pushes him at this moment and extends his lead to about 30-40 meters, he would only need to sail the ship's right to end up this race in gold podium.
Yep.
And
Well,
Kolikoi
we'll see how it turns out. Both boats have half tacked and are now going straight to the top gate. Both boats are leading. Leonardo has taken the lead from Kolikoi with this tack. And they've put 40 meters onto the third place Baban 06. Baban, who was one of the finalists in the eSailing World Championship in 2023. One of the 10 to race in Trieste during the Barcolana event regatta. That was a fun time there, right, Alberto?
Yeah, it was really fun, especially having to talk with him. He's a really tough, old sailor. You can have a solo sailing with him, and you'll be absolutely fine. If you feel that he's an experienced sailor, and he's really a lovely person to meet.
It was an interesting situation between Leonardo and Kolikoi. Leonardo made it so he broke the tie just by the time they were entering the zone. He entered the zone first and he had full rights over the air, and that was kind of a sloppy maneuver with the spinnaker hoist from Leonardo, but it was a very technically nice decision, because Kolikoi found himself in a position where he couldn't do nothing but twist sails, and it was not a very much anticipated maneuver for Kolikoi from Leonardo. Unfortunately for Kolikoi, he got a penalty, but as we see, he's still in second, so not much of a change, and he's still safe, and he has some very nice, very good overall standing. He's first and the second, so now he just needs to preserve his second position.
Yep. Meanwhile, Kurt in 12th, third overall. So that's gonna hurt him a bit compared to his previous performances, but not that much in the grand scheme of things.
Double kill from Japanese boat. I'm not sure I ever see her. Aima. That was a double kill. Is it a female player or a male?
They registered as a male, so I'm gonna assume male.
But there was a double kill because Kolikoi was approaching the zone, and Chap Oliver was an obstacle in his way, and he had to do some maneuvers to ensure his second from Kolikoi, but Aima managed to get rights, and there was a double kill. Oliver was penalized from Kolikoi, and Kolikoi was penalized from Ema.
Yep, so that just benefited Leonardo, who managed to pull away with almost 100-meter lead. So he's going to be Gucci for the remainder of the race, and the battle is going to be for second place between these four boats: Ema, Oliver, Timjanic, and Carlos.
Yeah,
you
despite
you can probably add Baban as well in the mix.
even though there were some penalties, we can see there is a bunch of sailors, a group of say 7 or 8 boats in the lead, and even though some of them took penalties, they still remain in the group of leaders, and we see another big group, big bunch of boats behind. So there are 7 leading boats and the rest of the fleet.
Yeah, well, you can see that Leonardo is really away, and as you said, the second group over here, and then, well, exactly as you said, we do see a bunch of them at the end, taking Sam as an example in the middle of the fleet over there.
And I reckon I missed how it happened, but I reckon this is the result of pressure difference. So we see some lighter air and we see some darker patches, and I assume there is a really strong wind over there in the darker areas, and that led some players to just make this leading gap.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember the start as well, but the start is going to play a huge role in the fleet sub 40. If you get stuck in the middle of other boats, it's going to be hard for you to pull away or get some clean air as well. So it was a combination of shifts, pressure, and maybe the start.
There is a statement, I probably shared it in 1P final, but I'd like to share it now. You can not necessarily win the race at the start, but you can definitely lose it at the start.
Yeah, I think the saying is like the start is like 80% of the race, or something crazy like that. So you don't want to miss it. Well, Leonardo has rounded the top gate. He is going to be first onto the downwind with almost 300 meters ahead of second place. Carlos deciding to go on the right of the course over here, while Carlos on the left, and Ema decided to stay on the right, although he has tacked and got closer to Carlos. And I think the order of the boats that we see currently on screen is going to be the order that we see at the end of the race. So Leonardo is going to finish first, Ema second, Carlos third, Timjanic fourth, I think Kolikoi fifth, Oliver sixth, and Baban seventh. Actually, it might be close between Baban and Oliver.
And the wind is very shifting, this downwind. There was a right shift if we look upwind coming by the time the boats were around the last mark. And now it's getting shifted. You can see another dark area, dark wind, heavy pressure tube in the middle. Very tricky, so it requires some strong tactical decisions on this downwind. To just basically to perform well and gain as much as possible.
Yep. As the first arrivers cross the finish line, Leonardo first, Ema second, Carlos third, Timjanic fourth, Baban fifth, Kolikoi sixth, and Oliver seventh. So there was a bit of a shift to what I said previously. Is Kurt gonna make it ninth? Barracuda that you mentioned at the beginning, 8th. And looks like Khan has dropped down a bit to 30th.
And do you see where is Barracuda? Can find him overall.
Barracuda was 8th.
I mean overall.
Oh, overall Barracuda is
Oh yeah, he was 28th.
He's 28th, yep.
Yeah, so this will definitely give him a chance to enter the medal race. And I assume, as always, there will be some players that are already qualified at any position they make in the medal will let them stay within top 12. So their only matter would be to fight for the podium places. And there will be a bunch of players who will fight for the last standings, for position 10, 11, and 12. And also the medal will be double points, which will be much trickier than this races. And the real race will be the medal race.
Yep. Well, there is our finishers for race number 6 in total, or number 3 in the Gold Series. And the next up is going to be in Nacra again.
And while you're in the stream, may you show Johannes Bunsen? It's I'm curious where he is at the moment. He was one of the favorites at some point, and now, oh yeah, he's 14th, and
He's
he was
8th in the
overall.
overall standing, yeah, and 14th in this race, correct?
So it seems he's some pretty good chance to qualify today. Not the best result for Khan. However, he was 2nd overall, so probably he will stay within the top 5 probably, or top 7. Nice event, anyways.
Yeah.
The
it's very different from the eSailing World Championship. We see these finals are 37 skippers for this race. I'm going to switch to the course as the first warning signal has been given. Yeah, we're going from 40 players in the eSailing World Championship finals to just 12 players in the Paris 2024 one. So it's the top. You race with 11 other players during the challenge. You race against 11 players during the challenge final, and only the top 12 make it to this challenge final, and only the top 2 of these challenge final make it to the grand final. So it is a lot different to race in these regattas compared to the eSailing World Championship, for example. And I don't know which one is harder, but the pool of players is definitely different.
Anyways, it's a very good practice. The format of the Paris 2024 final is quite similar to ESWC Grand Final, given the number of boats participating. Of course, the Grand Final of ESWC has more races, but the number of players is the same. And if you participate in 2024 Grand Final, you can count it as a practice for the ESWC Grand Final, which is really
and as the race started, we see here Mournier directly trying to luff up at the start, as you were mentioning. And currently in 17th position. Gonna switch to ESG 777, who according to the ranking is first, fighting against Andres. We haven't mentioned him, Andres and ESG 777, but both players we should have probably mentioned already.
Both boats are also good, and this is a very good race. This is a very good position for them in this race, just because ESG 777 is also known as Peter Jimin, is currently in 10th position, and if he finishes in third, it will definitely allow him to fight for maybe even some of the podium places. Not sure, need to count, but definitely it's good for him to just sail safe and finish in some of the top 5 positions. However, sometimes people get too excited when they are in top 3, and they tend to fight and take some extra risk, which may be too costly. Let's see if this will happen this time, or if these players will sail safe.
Yep, and we did see quite a shift over here in the ranking. For a moment there, we saw who was it? It was Kurt who was leading for quite a bit, and then there was a tack and a shift, and he fell down to 12th. Currently on the screen, we're seeing breast power. Also the kind of player who can have his good days and his bad days, where he can qualify and be in the top players of an event. So yeah,
the boat that is very capable of winning, but probably not having the best day today. And it's very important race for Andrzej, the Polish boat. He's currently in the leading positions because he's 17th overall, and in order to qualify for the semi-final, he needs to perform well, and he needs to finish somewhere in top 3 perhaps to increase his chances on qualifying.
Yep, you're doing good to remind it. Last race before the medal race, so at the end of this race, the top 20 overall out of the 40 will make it to the medal race.
But there is a huge position change with the leading boats. We saw Andrzej, we saw Peter Jimin, EG777 leading, and now we see 3 other boats.
Yep,
in the mix. Just because of this huge right shift that came from the top.
Yeah. Alberto, can you maybe run us over like the ranking, the overall ranking? I mean, overall standings. Do you think there are any players that are more or less safe at the moment, and any players that can still make it if they do well?
Do you want me to jinx it already like this?
Yeah, well, I mean, Korikoi, 29 points. I'm gonna jinx it for you. 29 points in first overall. He has 15 points lead on Kurt, who is second.
But the trouble is for Kolikoi is that Kurt is currently in third, and Kolikoi is in 26th.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, yeah, depending on, because like the 20th has 98 points, so that's 70, like 69 points. So he can mess up this race and still be in the top 20, but that would obviously ruin or make his chances to stay in the top 12 afterwards quite difficult. Although it is a medal race, so double the points.
Yeah, I think there will be, if we are speaking about the top 20, up to Aquila and Tila, there is a possibility to go in, but it will be really, really tough. After that, I'm sorry, but I believe the chances are really, really low. Mournier, actually, with a good position that he has with an Acra, is jumping a lot, because between a 21st position, the 22nd position that have 100 points, and 60th position that have 93 points, so it's like 7 points for 7 both. It's really, really tough. A lot of things can happen. I believe we will do lovely things when the result of the Necra, because are coming in, because after that will be much clearer what the grand final will allow us to have, and what we will see regarding on the qualified. I believe Cody Coy and Kurt are already qualified. Khan and 07, they have to put themselves in a really bad way to miss that, but I think already 3 or 4 position we already can say they already qualify the top 4 probably.
Yep. So just as reference, you were saying until Aquila. Oh yeah, that's why I was missing Attila and Kila, or Akila and Tila. Is maybe safe. She has 115 points, currently in 30th position overall. 20th position is Sabosan, who has 98 points. So a 14 points difference.
The real problem is she went from the wrong side of the racing area for this second upwind, and she is currently in the last position. So there's no way for her to get to the final, I believe.
Well, at least for
What do
this
you
one,
think,
it's going to be hard for her for sure. But maybe with STC.
Yeah, definitely
How,
STC.
Where are the winners of FTC going on Saturday?
They're going to the grand final. The winner, not the winners. The only one winner will go to the grand final. That will be after. That will be including also the 10 player from the eSailing World Championship semi-finalist. Definitely, she has a one more opportunity to do that.
Yep. So all eyes will be on her and other players as well during STC, because there are some other names we can mention, as you said, SGR, Pimpy, Sozi, who was one of the Olympic esports finalists 2023. Ame, you were about to say something?
Yeah, it was quite a dynamic second upwind. It was at some point Kurt was leading, and we saw some pumps we were talking earlier. Those pumps were both for gaining the ground and to push Mornier. And then at some point, Kurt decided to take over, and we saw some split of the Carlos going to the left hand side, to the left side of the course, and Kurt going to the right. And then Surgeon went into the mix and stayed in between both them. And he just got the right shift, the right place to tag, and we see him finishing in first. So it was a pretty dynamic and interesting spectacle to watch.
Yep, a lot of jumps in the ranking during this race. And as you said, unfortunately, Tila Akira took the wrong side of the course, and well, she's going to be closing the march with her teammates Andres Orba and Antila. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name.
What do you think about Nick Hill in 8th position?
I like to see him there. What is Attila and Kila doing? It's good to see him in 8th position. You did mention him at the start. He was one of your underdog favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Does he make it in the top 20? He is currently 26th with 108 points, so maybe.
I would go for a yes, probably even 17. And if I am right.
Well, it would likely take a bit more time for us to get the last race started. We're gonna tally up the scores, make sure that everything is correct, give out the roles to the top 20, and the top 20 will go into the medal race, which is going to be one race, double the points in J70. And the top 12 of these players are going to the semi-final. And they will be the last batch of players joining the semi-final, excluding the 12 wildcards.
I like to point out the comment of Lorenzo, who says that Kurt, Kolikoi, and I reckon Sershin may skip the last race. That's also that's nice because that depends on their preferences. So if they want to have this vibe of winning the regatta, or they want to go rest already, so yeah, they basically can just not enter the race. Not sure if this is decent enough, but yeah, they can skip it and they can still qualify and let others have this feeling of winning on the race. So that basically depends on.
They should still race, at least between them. Who will win between them, at least, you know? Because there is qualifying, sure. But you can always have the satisfaction of saying I was first.
Yeah, I reckon this is even more ethical. You have more votes in the fleet, so from ethical standpoint, it's more decent, more correct. But still, it's nice. It's nice that there is such an ability to skip the race and still qualify. It definitely boosts their spirit.
Okay, well, J70 again for this last race. Medal race, well, start procedure has been given. All 20 are in. Double points. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. Only the top 12 will make it to the semifinal. So yeah, let's see what happens.
Do you want to make a nice game? Who will be the last one that is at the moment in the ranking that is going to be qualify?
Will be the 12th player.
Yeah, but for example, if I say Eima is the 14th, he probably, if he qualified, or Mornier if he qualified. I mean, if Baban do not qualify, it's fine. You understand?
I guess.
No worries.
I don't know. I really hope that no, I'm gonna go for a Nick Hill or Phil Mady. And
okay.
Just Shidlo, coming back to your comments a few tens of minutes ago about Mieszko. Mieszko did make it in the top 20 and is currently 8th overall. So I'm not sure we can consider him as an underdog really at this point. But definitely, I don't think I would have considered him in the. That's mean the way I say it. I don't mean it that way. Basically, what I'm saying is good to see him in 8th position, and and yeah.
I see.
And we close it with a nice save, right?
Well, at the start, we were saying Cody Koikurdvi and Kurt could not race and still qualify. Well, they're taking that more or less to heart, being 17th and 18th in the race at the moment.
So I'm curious if positions of Koliko and Kurt were any influenced by severe fighting. Because we normally see them somewhere on the top of the fleet in the leaning positions, and now they are at the very back. Curious if they were fighting in it, or if that was just not the best start from them.
Yeah, I didn't really pay attention enough to them during the start, but I'll definitely rewatch it during when the replay comes out. Most of the live that we're actually doing on this channel are gonna get their replay posted on Twitch and on YouTube as well. If you wanna watch again what happened during these events, and that includes the One Provence, the eSailing World Championship, the Paris 2024, and any other upcoming competitions. And Ale Ferraz from Brazil, I'm assuming. Thank you for the follow. Nice to see you here.
A very important race for Mornier and Mieska. Both should just sail safe. They're in a very good position, and both can qualify. It's even more important for Mornier to sail safe and not have much of fighting with Mieska, just because he's 13 overall, and he just needs some good finish to enter the top 12. And for Mieska, who's currently in ace, it's also important. And but unfortunately, they were not so lucky with this left side, because there was a bigger right coming, and currently they are still in a good position, but not first and second as they used to be.
Yeah. So apparently, I got some inside information from Donnie saying that Kurikoi was OCS, which is why we saw him at the back during the start.
Now we need to get some insight regarding Kurt.
Searching is the one who takes the lead over here, as Oliver takes a penalty. So does Mornier. And Emma takes advantage of this. Emma.
And most likely, Searching is about to win the regatta. Depending on will Kurt be able to recover to get enough points to secure just to be out of Searching or not.
Yeah, very good Searching is third overall with 56 points, so just 7 points behind Kurt.
And I see my underdog favorite, Barracuda, currently doing not bad. In fifths on the tracker. Not sure. Yeah, he's fifths. So probably this will be enough for him to enter top 12.
Yeah, Barracuda is 16th overall with 107 points. 12th position is Pepino with 95 points. I would also be nice to see Pepino stay in the top 12. He was the 80th player in the ranking of those not yet qualified in the challenge.
He's also the national champions in Switzerland for 2022.
And also, okay, I didn't know that.
A meaningful race for EG 777. He's currently in 11th, and now he's in the middle of the fleet. So let's see if he performs well enough to basically recover to improve his current standing and remain in top 12. We see Nick Hill covering him. For
Nick Hill is having a battle with FedEx right next to him, almost collided with him. FedEx is 19th with 116 points, so he's gonna have to try to climb this ranking.
And it's an interesting wind shift, wind coming on the second upwind. We can see some darker patch coming from the left hand side, so probably the belts that are going to the far left will catch some big lefty, and we'll lift up the course, and we'll see some more position changes.
Yep, Searching still cruising away with Emma following him. I think these two are pretty much safe. Is Khan safe in third as well?
And we see Kurt
I think he's fairly safe as well.
Recovering to fifth position. So if Searching finishes first, he'll get 58 overall. And if Kurt finishes in fifth, he'll get 59. So Kurt needs one more position.
Yep. He did climb the ranking nicely. As you can recall, he was 17th at the start. Now in 7th, so he did climb, and as you said, he's going to need to continue climbing if he wants to maintain his second position compared to Searching. How's Kurikoi? Kurikoi is unfortunately looks like he is stuck at the back of the fleet. Still in 18th.
And another interesting situation is between Team Yannick and Filmeri. Both are at the 17th and 12th overall, and I reckon they're both thirsty to finish as well as possible. I mean, as high as possible overall in this race, which will definitely influence their overall standings in the regatta. And this is where Kurt might use this situation and just sail away from them, leaving them fighting, and probably improving even more. So for Kurt, it's all about recovering to position 4 to win the regatta.
Yep, and I mean that's a good position for Filmati in 4th.
And a very polite move from Kurt. He was approaching Team Yannick and starboard, and he decided to duck him, which is a very kind of a gentleman move, which deserves a lot of respect. So kudos to Kurt. A very tricky moment for Leonardo and Trip Oliver. Sorry, not Trip Oliver is already safe, but for Leonardo and for Peter Jimin. So they're both not really well secured, and they're 10th and 16. So they really need a good upwind, good downwind, good final downwind leg to stay in top 12.
Yep, Leonardo was one of the underdogs. 10th position, as you said, currently 9th.
But we can definitely say that Searching, Aimer, Kurt, and Kolikoya qualified just because we see and Khan, we see
Yeah,
Aimer.
I think we can add Khan in the mix as well. He's 3rd with 200 meters onto 4th.
Oliver's
third.
He's most likely qualified. He's currently in 4th, and there will be. It's curious if there will be any fight between Khan and Oliver, because they don't really need to fight. They're well secure in their place, and I don't think changing in between of them will give anything to Oliver. So they just need to. For Khan, it doesn't make a lot of sense to fight with Oliver, so they just need to finish at this as they are.
You know, I think Pepino is risking to go out for Filmati. So there is a chance of Filmati in, Pepino out, and that will be decided for the last meter of the races.
Well, Filmati currently 5th. Maybe he can cross 4th. It's going to be tight with Oliver.
Oh, sorry, I was I get confused. I thought Filmati is Khan. My apologies.
Yeah, so Filmati 5th. I think he might have made it.
The Filmati
we'll
5th, it depends now what Pepino do.
And Pepino is currently last. But he's
So
gonna
there is
gain
also a chance for
couple of
Mornier.
places, maybe. Oof.
Really tricky for Johannes Bunsen.
Yeah, he arrived at the same time. 4 of them arrived at the same second. 4. 5 of them arrived at the same second at the end. We'll have a look in just a sec.
We can definitely say Search won the regatta, and Kurt is probably 2nd.
And definitely that give the kiss of death. Let's go back.
Yeah, so between the last five, it was Jer7 in front of Federex, in front of Miesco, in front of Nick Hill, in front of Pino. But Pino did make it last, and I want to see. Yeah, look at this. 1 minute plus 1 minute 30 seconds and 1/10 for Federex, sorry, Miesco and Nick Hill, and plus 3/10 of a second for Pino.
So first searching, second can for sure. That would be interesting because Ama can jump a lot of position and maybe took the podium also.
We'll see how the whole ranking shuffles, waiting for the scoreboard to update. It's going to take a couple seconds.
But definitely there are some changes in top 12, just because we can see Peter Jimin finishing in 15th. He was 12th overall, so he's surely out, and that's probably a big frustration. But somebody else who has entered the top 12 after the medal race is surely happy.
I have a good news for you that the results are out.
And there you can see them on the screen. So Searching is the winner of the regatta, followed closely by 3 points by Kolikoi. 2 points behind is Kurt. Then Khan in 4th, Carlos Parejo in 5th, Trap Oliver in 6th, Ama in 7th, Jer 7 in 8th, Johannes Bansen in 9th, Moni in 10th, Leonardo in 11th, and ESG 777 Peter G-Man in 12th. These are the 12 players who are going to go to join the rest of the semi-finalists. So these are the last players to qualify for the semi-final via eSailing World Championship Challenge Final, which means that the only remainder places for the semi-final are going to be the 12 wild cards, and the semi-final happening on the 7th and on the 8th. So it's going to be 2 days of racing. Big congratulations to them. Any last words any of you would like to make?
I want to address Phil Matey, Miesco Muraski, and Barracuda, 1 and 2 points away from Peter G-Man. That Miesco Muraski arrived in probably half a second later than Peter G-Man, and he lost the qualification in the last moment of the race.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that. I was looking at the ranking. So, as we saw, Tier 7, Federex, Miesco, Nick Hill, and Pepino all arrived at during the same second at the end. And well, it could have changed everything. Just a 1/10 of a second difference could have changed everything. Ame, any last words you'd like to say before we end the stream?
It was exciting to watch the final today. It was very tricky, a lot of position changes, which made it thrilling, and was happy to join you guys, commentate it, and big congratulations to top 12, and hopefully this season will end up with a really cool, really awesome, and dramatically hosted semifinals. Cheers, guys.
Yep, we'll see what happens during the semi-final. Thanks again to all the racers. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes helping us with the stream. So shout out to Lorenzo, who was doing the scoring, and to our protest committee to handle the hearings and the protests, and Giovanni for being the PRO of this event. Next stream is going to be on Saturday for the Steering the Course final. After that, we're going to be having the Paris 2024 Challenge 2 final on Monday, 20 UTC. This was Oscar, one of your hosts, with Alberto and Ame joining me. And well, thank you all for joining. This was a blast, and big congratulations again to the 12 last semi-finalists qualifying via a challenge final. See you all next time.
Have a good night.